In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can start to sell a high ticket offer straight off of a Google Doc. So let's get into it. My name's Lati Sutton, if you're new here, and I really love helping my clients build a life first business model that's high profit, that has tons of MRR, and honestly, just prioritizing your life so that you can live your life on your terms. So if you are new here, just know that your girl is all about having a spacious calendar and just really having a business that like fuels your soul. And a big part of that is selling in a way that's not only authentic, but also doesn't require such like hard selling. So back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, I used to do sales calls when I first started my online coaching business because that was the way. And I'm not going to lie, I was like actually really good at them after, dozens and dozens of no's. But what I realized is that I didn't love the idea of having to get on a call to close somebody. So then after that, I pretty much transitioned into selling through the DMs, but there is always a qualification process and a filter process. So what I did instead of a sales call was a application, which I still do in a lot of ways till this day. That application essentially required leads to put in their information, very quick of who they are, what their name was, their email, some very basic questions, and then ultimately asking, what part of their journey they were on and how did they want my help. So that's essentially what the application has done for us. And I really love selling with an application specifically because it allows us to filter through, it allows us to keep our lead, like highly interested leads really organized. And overall, when I did have a sales team, when I had DM closers and DM sellers, it was really, really beneficial. But over the last like year and a half, and I've actually did this at the very beginning of my business and I kind of phased it out because I focused more on doing applications. I started selling with Google Docs and Canva PDF. So I kind of loop them in the same, they're very similar. But essentially, the idea of selling with a Google Doc or a Canva PDF is that instead of having to get on a call or having an application, you essentially take people who are really interested in working with you straight directly to the offer. And then from there, they can purchase right on the Google Doc and get enrolled into your offer, mid-ticket, high ticket, whatever, what have you. So this has been becoming really, really popular and I have actually really loved it. And I'll be honest, I've only sold with Google Docs and PDFs to my warm audience. I have never put out a Google Doc to a completely ice cold audience of people that don't know me. So what I need you guys to understand is that the context of this video is really focused on people that have consumed your content, that have been in your world, that want to buy from you, that have been through your funnels. This is what Google Doc and PDF selling is going to be best for. It's not going to be best for people that are just meeting you, buying off of Google Doc because they need to get to know you. They need to be nurtured by you. They need to understand your unique ideas, your stances, etc. So let's get into it. I have a video guide. You guys know I love to bring the heat. I'm going to break down exactly what this is going to look like. We're going to kind of talk through the pros and cons of selling with Google Docs. So first things first, what I need you guys to understand is that the pros I would say of selling with the Google Doc is really going to be that it's super simplistic, right? Sometimes I think sales pages can just be super fancy for no reason, super long form. And I've been there. I've paid $10,000 plus for a sales page. And to be very honest, like, did it work? Yeah, but was it necessary? No. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have spent that money on that sales page, okay, to get that written and all of that. So the pros of selling with Google Docs is that it's very simple. Like basically, if you sell anything, you could whip up a Google Doc. The next part of this is that it can really reduce friction in the sales process. And why I love this too specifically is if you're working with your warm audience, your warm market, they don't need like all these bells and whistles. They're not looking for that. They just want the question answered. Can you solve my problem? That's what they're looking to solve. The last part of this is that I've done this so many times that when I had an idea and I wanted to sell it as an offer, whether it was like a VIP day or an incentive or, a new layer of one-to-one, like I've been able to take that idea to offer very fast because I'm not worried about the mechanics because all it is just something similar like this, a Google Doc. So I'm going to show you guys what mine looks like, just a little overview, but these are the pros of selling with Google Docs and it really helps streamline your sales process. Now let's kind of talk about the cons. Okay. So when I think about the cons is that there is not going to really be a formal conversation or documentation of, the people that you're selling to because when somebody asks you for your offer, you're just kind of giving it to them. So you're not going to really have a formal process to like really at a high level manage like every single person that's interested. And yes, there's ways to put it into your CRM and things like that, but I love having an application in place for some of my offers because it allows me to just track from like top priority to not as priority from a conversion standpoint. The other part of this too is that, and I have to set this disclaimer, you guys, is that if you ain't selling consistently on sales calls or with applications in general, this isn't going to magically fix your sales issue. Like if you don't know how to sell, it's a skill that you need to learn. A Google Doc is not going to put a band-aid over your inability to consistently sell or sell at all. Okay. So what I need you guys to understand is that just switching over to this method isn't going to magically fix your sales problem. So please don't just think that you can just figure out how to sell with a Google Doc and like automatically be selling. Okay. I always have to put that, context out there because this isn't going to fix a broken sales issue. Okay. So let's kind of talk about, should you sell this way? Like if this is meant for you and should you sell this way? So here's some questions that I want you to audit and ask yourself when we think about, are you ready to sell with Google Docs? So when we think about the context of selling with Google Docs, is your content and your values, is it full of awareness from a place of, if somebody that was in your audience like consumed your content for the next 48 hours, would they know what you stand for? Would they know exactly what you don't stand for? And would they know like that you would be a good mentor for them or not? And something I can talk about from that perspective is like, if you have very specific values about freedom, like my clients know that like I have really strong boundaries and I talk about it all the time. I do not work client facing on the weekends. I have very set boundaries when it comes to communication with clients, and it's to protect their energy and protect mine because I know I can't be the best coach if I don't fill my cup up. And also, when I think about building a business, I built a business to have joy and also make a lot of money and also serve my clients at the highest level. So I'm always constantly reinforcing that message. I'm also reinforcing that I really believe in monthly recurring revenue. I'm also forcing and reinforcing the idea that I really love having a spacious calendar. I'm constantly reinforcing that through my movement, which is a 7-figure upgrade. Okay. So when you look at your content, it's just a simple yes or no. Is your content focused on your values? Is it clear if I just came in as a stranger finding your content that I would know exactly what you stand for? If it's not, then you need to spend some time for the next 30 days or so getting your content infused with those values. Okay. The next question is, do you have client case studies and testimonials? Because at the end of the day, when you're selling with a Google Doc, like and it's similar, right? We're taking what you're doing on a sales call or in an application, and we're having that conversation just like up front and center. And when you have content that's focused on values, you're handling objections and repelling people that are not a good fit anyway. So client case studies and testimonials are just another another part of your process to reinforce your message. And case studies and testimonials do a really, really good job of showing people and not just telling them that you can actually help them. Are you creating long form content? This is like simple for people to like conceptualize, but really hard to execute. And long form content is going to be content just like this video. Like if somebody consumes this piece of content, they're going to know, like, and trust me so much faster. They're going to feel connected to me. People don't buy from people that they just know. They don't even buy from people they just like. They buy from people that they trust and believe can actually solve their problem. So the best way to do that is through long form content. Long form content generates leads, it generates sales, it generates conversations, it generates the part of the sales process that so many people are neglecting. So when I think about your long form content, are you sharing unique ideas and perspectives? Are you educating your audience on how you can help them solve their problem? So one of the key things that I do with my audience is I talk about monthly recurring revenue. I just made a video on, what that needs to look like as far as like how you can stack your monthly recurring revenue. I'm educating people on how I can help them solve their problem inside of one of my offers. Showing is also talking about, like on my Instagram, I can show you guys, a show don't tell piece of content is going to look like this, right? So this is on Instagram, and I talked about, here's exactly what I'm going to be doing in the rest of 2024 to have my best months ever. And I broke it down step by step. Like I'm getting very delusional. I'm decided that good enough isn't good enough anymore. I'm selling more than I've ever have. Like I'm breaking down my process on how I'm going to get those results. So that's, again, building in public. People are going to trust you so much more when you show your process. I've been updating my audience on stories and emails of like what's happened, what's not gone well, and just like giving those real-time updates to them so they can trust that I'm not only who I say I am, I also have values that I uphold in my own life, and I'm not going to let anything or anybody compromise those values. And that's a really core part of like the 7-figure upgrade process that I take my clients through. The third part is telling. So you'd be shocked, you guys, how many people don't even understand that you have something for sale. If I go and audit your content right now, and in the last 30 days, I don't know if you have something for sale, that's a problem. So you have to tell people your process, right? I'm constantly reiterating my movement of the 7-figure upgrade. I'm constantly talking about my community-based program, which is leads on autopilot right now. I'm constantly talking about that I have, inside of my one-to-one mentorship, this is what a client is currently working on, or this is how I help my clients, or this is what I've done with a client recently. And I'm framing it in a way of like, I want you in here, and this is how you can work with me, right? So telling people that you even have something for sale is so, so huge. Another one is going to be point of view in your content. So taking a stand, hot takes, strong beliefs. I can give you guys another example of that from a long form perspective. So obviously my YouTube is my YouTube is still earlier on. It's still new. Like from this new iteration, I've been on YouTube for 10 years, but this new iteration of my business, it's definitely, I'm building all of those layers into it, but I've been on Instagram consistently for the last like 5 to 6 years. So when I think about a point of view that's a very strong perspective is going to be, this is a really strong point of view of like, how I don't care about being the highest price coach in the industry because my clients also don't care about being the highest price. Now, we're going to get our value. We are definitely going to charge for the value that we're delivering. And I'm definitely not cheap. Let me say that. But I don't care about having to have a 6-figure, offer necessarily if that's not where I'm at and or where I want to be at with my clients, right? So that's a really strong point of view perspective of like what I actually care about. And again, also sharing taking a stance and also sharing more of myself. This is what this post did. I talked about what's important to me and what's not. Another strong point of view perspective is going to be right here. I'm talking directly to maybe a pain point, but it's crucial. I'm saying like my clients, when I think about my best clients, right? When they came to me, they had an inability to say no and it kept them small. So then from there, I went on to tell them why it's not going to work for them and why they're not going to be able to continue to grow if they don't fix it. Okay. So that's a really strong stance. And some people may not agree with me, but I don't care because if you agree with me, you're my person. If you're not, that's okay. We can still be cordial. Okay. So the last one's going to be inviting people directly to work with you inside of your offer. So you can do this from a long form perspective with a mini course, with a mini video sales letter, a free Google Doc course. Like there's a few different ways I teach my clients on how to do this, but constantly sharing that piece of content, which is like your lead magnet, all over the place. Like it needs to be shared every day, all day, because that's going to be your direct piece of content. That's direct response. It's going to get people to apply to work with you, or sorry, not apply to work with you. That's going to invite people to work with you. Okay. The last question that I want you to consider when we think about selling with Google Docs specifically is what's the price point of your offer, right? So if your offer is anywhere from, and this is based off of my experience and what I've sold. So at the price points that I've sold at, I've sold $30,000 offers off of Google Docs. Okay. So disclaimer, you may not be there yet. You may have never even thought about selling a $30,000 offer. You may already have sold a $30,000 offer. That's not what I'm arguing here. What I'm sharing here is that the idea of that the sky really is the limit, you guys. It really is. So really, if you have a price point from a mid-ticket or high-ticket offer that's anywhere from 1,000 to 30,000, and I've seen it work for other people at the 50,000 to 6-figure range, is that you can sell it, okay? But you have to have all these other pieces in place because again, like I said, if you're not selling outside of, if you've never sold not on a call, this is going to be a switch and it's going to be a commitment that you're going to switch to. I don't ever want people feeling like that they can't do this, but you have to have context and you also have to have a lot of self-belief, okay? And have the right formula in place. So that's what that's going to look like, okay? So let's kind of talk about Lastly here is the process. So step one, you're going to use your content, your ads, your funnel, your email list. You're going to drive every single person to a conversation invitation. Okay. So it's like, hey, if you liked watching this video, send me a DM on Instagram with the word info or the word ready or the word what have you. And that's going to trigger in your mind. And you can even set up an automation in ManyChat to send over your Google Doc process, right? So we are focused on leveraging our content and our ads and our funnels and our email lists to generate conversations. Because from a conversation, you can make an invitation. Okay. So that's going to be step two. They need to DM you preferably on Instagram or respond to your email if you're sending out emails. In whatever, whatever way that you're doing it, we do both. So we have a keyword that we use currently, it's info. And then we also have people respond to our emails. We have like PSs at the bottom of most of our emails. We also, when I send out direct response emails for people to work with us, that we have spots open for the month, right? Because we don't fully, so we do, sometimes we do a wait list, and basically when those spots open, we're like, hey, reply and I'll send you over all the information, etc. Okay. Step three is going to be you share the Google Doc with them. You can share it automatically through ManyChat or you can manually send it. I'm an automation girly, so we get that sent through ManyChat to people on Instagram that are asking about it. And then if people reply, my assistant will just send them over the information. And then step four, you can sell right off the Google Doc for your offer. Okay. So let me kind of walk you through what this looks like from a Google Doc perspective. I'm going to talk about one of my Google Docs that has performed the best. And I think I whipped this up in less than an hour. So maybe hour 15 minutes. So this is what it looks like. So it's the title of the offer. And this is like, we need to update it. I've had this for over a year. But this one specifically has made almost $100,000. And this is just a smaller high ticket, like intensive offer. I've also used this for like VIP days and things like that. And here's what I need you guys to understand too, really quick before I show you more of this, is that at the core, what I need you to understand is that the more things that you have in the sandwich, right? The more stuff the sandwich is, like when we think about, and that's your content, that's your nurturing, that's you consistently adding value to other people's lives and demonstrating competence and showing and giving away your secrets, right? People are so scared to give away stuff, which I need y'all to stop that mindset. That's a very lack mindset, in my opinion. When you stop being scared to give away your brilliance, you are going to, it's universal law. You're going to receive so much more back from the universe. So I need you guys to understand that. So when you give and make it ask, you also you need to make it ask, and you also need to give. And it's the law of reciprocity, always constantly circulating around you. Okay. So this Google Doc here is pretty standard. So I always put a button up at the top. This links right directly to the offer. And then I'm very clear of like who this is for. If you are this person or this person specifically for this, you could also list it out in bullet point form. This is for you if X, Y, Z. Okay. So then from here, I'm like, if you want the result, keep reading. Okay. And then I'm kind of going into, you need this, you want this, you're looking for this. Specifically, it's about my ads intensive. You need more leads, you need a consistent source of leads. And then the fastest way to do this is through running super simple ads. Okay. So there is that. So then from here, I'm just kind of going through giving some social proof and some authority, talking about how I use this specific process I'm going to help you implement in my intensive. These are the results that I got. So I'm walking them through that. This is just pretty standard copy here. And then from there, I'm like, here's the best part. We can have the system set up in X amount of time. Okay. So depending on your offer, if it's more of like a group program or community program, here's the best part. Day one that you start working with us, you'll have immediate access to start setting up the system, or immediate access to start understanding this process, what have you. So then I'm giving some urgency here. So again, this offer typically I do send out on weekends. It's not always open. So that is, honest urgency there. But when I send this out, I'll switch this out depending on how we're sending it, etc. Because it is a one-to-one offer. So I only have so much capacity. So there is that. You want to give some ethical urgency there and put a deadline, because when we think about selling with Google Docs, what I found is like having a deadline is really important. And not a fake deadline, but like a capacity deadline. So from there, what you want to do is kind of walk through the alternative solutions that they don't need. So for my clients for this, I'm like, you don't need a complicated funnel. You don't need a big budget. You don't need to have a lead magnet. Like you don't need any of that. This is what you do need. Or I'm like, first is what you need. Second is what you need. You want to make a statement about like being all in committed. And then from there, Right? I'm just kind of adding just more copy about, why this is so important, why ads are the best way, what's possible for them. I'm kind of adding that in. Like it's when we think about traditional copywriting models, it's like problem, agitate, solve. So I was like kind of starting to solve the problem by agitating a little bit more here. And then from there, I break down essentially exactly like what they can walk away with, like what's the tangible result. So maybe you're like, I'm going to get you on the path to find your husband, or maybe I'm going to help you lose 10 to 15 pounds in the next 90 days, or whatever it is, whatever your result statement is for your offer, you want to put that there. Then from here, you want to break down I'm not going to go through all this in detail, but you want to break down exactly how the offer works. So I give my clients pre-work. Maybe you have like module one, module two, maybe it's week one, week two, maybe it's month one, month two. You just want to be extremely articulate on what's going to happen from a tangible perspective and nothing fluffy like, I'm going to help you unlock your limiting beliefs. No, I'm going to actually help you have hard conversations with people that have hurt you in the past. And we're going to start with your support system. That's way more tangible than saying, I'm going to help you unlock your limiting beliefs or help you overcome trauma or whatever it is that you help people do. Okay. So there's that. So I gotta just kind of go break down exactly like what we're gonna do week 3, because this is a 4-week intensive. So I'm very specific about like what we're doing each week. Then from there, I'm like, here's what you get included. And then I start linking the ads intensive here. Also, remember I linked it at the top as well with the button. And I say, this is exactly what you're gonna get. This is actually changing, but for up until now, filming this video, this is what they got. And then I'm just very clear, like you should enroll if, and then I break it down by if you're doing low ticket or high ticket offers. And I'm like, if you don't check these boxes, please don't enroll. At the time of this video, the incentive is 5,000. That will probably be going up. Not probably, will be. But for this offer, it was $5,000. And then I also give them options on like how they can get approved, if they want to use like a payment plan, etc. And this is where if you do, like I do offer payment plans for my other offers. So I would put in like the investment is this, or you can get started for X amount of monthly payments or bi-weekly payments or any other payment option they would have. And then from there, I'm just saying like I only have 3 spots for the month. And then I put a link like they can enroll here. And then I'm very clear on like what you're going to get. This is the most important, one of the most important pieces. Once they enroll, what happens next? Be very clear. You have to be crystal clear on what happens next. And you need to have those automations set up. And we use Zapier. So when somebody enrolls into the intensive, they get a full email that's like an intake form. They get the link to my calendar. They get access to the course that they need. They get everything that they need. And then they get access to send me a box to start chatting with me. And then they have a whole step-by-step process. It's very clear on what's next. And then from there, I'm just kind of reiterating the result that they want. You will have consistent sales. You will have predictable way to get new leads. And then I'm also saying you want to look at my client testimonials. You can check under my client results. I give a client result, and I definitely, again, you can add way more testimonials here. But this one has made me almost probably actually over $100,000 now between the upsells from clients and also them buying the intensive directly in just about like a year and a few months. And again, I don't really push this offer a ton, so that's been a blessing. So yeah, and then I just put a CTA at the end for people to enroll. So from there, once I get these links, right, these are spaced throughout the Google Doc, and this is it's pretty long. I have Google Docs that are a little bit shorter, but basically from there, they just go straight to a checkout page. That's it, right? And then again, they have like the options for Firm, Klarna, that's available to you. And then I just put, again, what's included. I do an order bump on pretty much all my high ticket offers from Google Docs. And then that's a process, you guys. So yeah, so I'm not giving out a template necessarily to this, but I am thinking about hosting a workshop or some sort of like info about how to do this. So if you're interested, just let me know. If I get enough interest, I will definitely release it and I'll drop the link below this video, but just send me a message on Instagram if that was helpful. But that's kind of basically how I've sold it. Now, I will say one last few things here is that I have built up a brand reputation for the last 5 years. So I'm not saying that just because you just started 3 months ago or 6 months ago or a year ago that you can't do this. What I am saying is that you need to have realistic expectations and you need to have very clearly defined offer pathway. So it's very clear for me. Like I don't, again, the ads incentive is something I sell here and there. It's not a core offer of mine. My core offer is my Leads on Autopilot community, which up until now we have had an application, but we are playing around with it right now to just sell it without an application, and we'll kind of monitor client quality. But for the most part, when I've sold the intensive, I've had really amazing clients. They've gotten epic results, a lot of them. So I know it's going to work for any offer. So just know that if it's a community offer, a one-to-one offer, a VIP day offer, it doesn't actually matter, right? As long as the offer is clearly defined with a clear result, you can sell it from a Google Doc if you have the brand reputation, the brand authority, the unique value propositions, and people trust you, then you should have no problem selling. The last part here is that you have to consistently share with people that you have something to offer and that you have something for sale. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter how you sell it, it ain't going to sell if that's not out there. So Google Doc selling is definitely making its headway heading into 2025. And if you need help with this is one of the core things that I'm starting to teach to a lot of my clients. So just definitely send me the word info over on Instagram if you want to learn exactly how I can help you, scale your business in a way that puts your life first so that you have that amazing monthly recurring revenue. You can sell without sales calls, without a lot of friction. And ultimately, you just want to have a high profit business that brings you joy with a lean team working 20 to 25 hours per week. DM me the word info over on Instagram, and I will share with you exactly how my team and I can help you. So definitely check the link below this video for additional resources. But that's basically it. That is how Google Doc selling works. That's how I've done it. It's really not extremely difficult, but it does definitely take some skill. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Follow me on Instagram. Definitely give me a like, subscribe here underneath this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.